Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. P with Mr. P Explorers, and today we find ourselves in central Ohio in the town of Mount Vernon, where I am about to explore a really cool park that I was tipped off to by a fellow explorer. The park is called Ariel Foundation Park, and what's so special about this park? Well, up until about 5 years ago, this park was the ruins of a Pittsburgh Plate Glass plant where they made glass back in the day. An old industrial plant that had been left behind. It closed in 1976, and it just sat here. Luckily, in 2013, the town fathers, along with some corporate sponsors, decided to rebuild this area. They tore down most of the plant, and what they did then was use some of the actual remnants as part of the park. So they actually reused the ruins and put them into the park to make an amazing place to go and visit and relax. We're going to take a look at some of these ruins, and if I can get the guts up, we'll take a look at that tower over there, and maybe I will climb to the top of that and let you see what it looks like from up there. We'll see. It's very bizarre. I am not a heights guy. You'd think I would be in all the adventures I go on, but I am not. Roller coasters, no problem. Towers with metal walkways, not so much, but I'll give it a shot. For you guys, I'll do it. But let's take a look here. We'll walk our way into Ariel Foundation Park and see what's here to see. There's lots of little tributes in the park to glass, which makes sense because that's what they made here. Lots of cool glass formations and bricks and things that were left behind. In fact, this first station we're coming to here is nothing but different types of glass and minerals, which is really, really cool. Coming up to next here is more glass, this beautiful blue color of glass. I'm not sure what makes it so special. I'm not a chemist, but if you know, leave a comment for us. But this is some beautiful stuff. I'm not sure if this was left behind by the actual plant or if this was special made for the park. There's a cool testament to what used to be built here, made here. And here we've got some old gear work from the original plant. Next up on our tour, we have some remnants of some metal. It looks like scaffolding, parts of an old building. And if you look here, you can see something had once been here in the concrete, maybe even more part of the building. Over here, you've got this awesome metal structure left behind, this twisted metal structure that at one point was part of the plant. Similar one right over here. very cool that a town would do this. Not very many do. When they build a park, they usually rip everything out. This town has it right historically. You know, keep what's part of your heritage, change it up, but always keep a little piece of history here to remind yourself where you come from. Very cool. Okay, moving along, we are coming up to two giant towers. And these towers are actually elevator shafts and stairwells for the old plant. So at one point, heavy equipment, machinery, that kind of thing would have been loaded into this elevator. Right here where it says 131. This must have been building 131. And taken up to the top floors wherever it was needed. I'm not sure if this was connected building-wise or if this was a separate building, but this is about the same thing. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Unfortunately, we can't go inside. But inside, you can actually still see the original stairwell in there. I don't know how well that can be seen with the camera, but that would go all the way to the top. Bit better. You can see the stairwell in there with the shadow. It still smells industrial here. You can smell oil and metal, you know, coming out of the wind wafting through the building. You can actually smell. If anybody's ever worked in a factory before, you know that smell. Another giant elevator shaft here. And coming up on this field, you'll see there are these brick columns, which were also part of the building. If I'm not mistaken, at some point these were probably anchors for the metal structure. Maybe sanded down, concreted over. One of the things I found most awesome is this giant concrete block. This was actually part of the foundation at one point. And now it's a sculpture. But if you look really, really closely in here, you'll see all kinds of metal, rebar, brick, concrete, conglomerate, all kinds of cool stuff. Better, you've got this giant gear system in here, plumbing. This used to be part of maybe even a smokestack at one point. You can see the ladder here and pipes, and down there a hole to the exit. But no idea what this would have controlled at one point, but it's a cool addition to the park. Here what they've done is taken part of the building and made it into an actual event center where you can actually have birthday parties, that kind of thing. So it's all been redone, all been rebuilt. That was actually part of the plant. Probably the best part of the park, in my personal opinion, is what's coming up here. What they call on the map, the ruins, in quotes. And that's exactly what they are. Probably the largest chunk of the factory still standing, and we'll walk you through it. First glance, what we're going to see here looks to be a loading dock of some kind, or maybe an area where they had unloaded product. But this is pretty phenomenal stuff. Late 1800s, early 1900s architecture. You can see the metal bracket here that probably held up part of the floor. There too is part of the metal floor, or part of the roof anyway of this section. Some kind of structure had come out of here at one point. To what was once the inside of the building. Really closely here, you'll see bricks that were actually made in Canton at Belden. It's an old brickyard. It's an amazing old building. Thank the makers that Mount Vernon decided to keep this. Not many towns can boast an old spot like this, where the history of their town is shown, showcased. Give you a back view of the building. And out here we've got a beautiful little pond. I'm not sure if this was here originally or if this was built by the park. Heard that little squeak? That was a frog jumping into the water. I've had several of those do that to me today. what you're seeing coming up here is actually an event center. Once part of the plant, you can see that by the elevator shafts there. This is now a place for the community to come together and have shows, put on plays, bands. I'm sure they had their 4th of July celebration here not too long ago. Pretty cool what you can do with history when you put your mind to it rather than tearing it down. It can be repurposed and brought to a whole new generation, which is what they've done here. And again, you can still smell the metal, the oil, the machinery. That smell has not gone away. No matter how much renovation they've done, it's still here. And there you've got the stage. I guarantee you that wasn't part of the original blueprints. Sure, when the whole town comes out, this place is full. They probably have food trucks, vendors, concession stand, live music. Today we have it all to ourselves. And if you look down, this is actually part of the old loading dock here. This whole section here that you see, having loaded quite a few trucks myself in the past, this is where the trucks used to back up to the plant and bring deliveries, take product out wherever it was going. All cemented in now, of course, but that's what these are. The next little stop I want to take you guys on here after we walk through here is a really cool sculpture using glass called the River of Glass. And when you see it, you'll understand why it's called that. In fact, off to the side here, you can see it. It literally is a river of glass. The blue chunks of glass we saw earlier and crushed glass, clear glass. Earlier when I took pictures of this, the sun hit it and it was amazing. Right now we kind of have some downcast. The sun might come out, we'll get lucky. But check this out. Under things you don't see every day. Beautiful blue crystal, all glass. Pretty fantastic stuff. And over to the right of us, we have an area called the Labyrinth. which if you look closely enough, you'll notice the path goes in a labyrinthine pattern. We'll head on over there and take a look at that here in just a second. And before us we have the labyrinth, which we are going to walk for you. Not part of the original factory, but just a cool little thing they put into the park. And there you have it. And from this view here, this would have been the parking lot of the PPG plant, now used by the park. You can imagine in its heyday, this place was probably huge. They tore down probably half to 3/4 of the buildings that were here. My kingdom for a time machine, I would have loved to have explored this place when it was still an industrial wreck. But this is pretty good too. At least somebody gets to use it now. And we're coming up on one more elevator shaft. Rings, call the shift electrician immediately. Sure thing. And here you can see the old elevator controls. One last thing on these towers here that I did want to show you guys, aside from these amazing, awesome doors to this elevator, is up here. We still have some electrical from back in the day. And for the fire department, emergency use only. I have no idea what this button does or did. Maybe it was an elevator button. Don't know. And coming up here, we have another sculpture, as I highly doubt these girders were here in this position when the place was built. This looks like a sculpture that was redone using the girders. They go down in size in increments. really carefully, this is the original concrete floor of the plant. You can see here where girders came right out of the floor here. This was actually probably the plant floor. Again, it's hard to imagine that workers came here every day and did their daily grind right here where we're walking for decades. And if you look really closely here, you can actually see the original linoleum floor of the plant. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment of truth, the moment you've all been waiting for. We are going to hopefully ascend to the top of the Raston Observation Tower. And as you can see, it is way up there. And as I said at the beginning of the video, Mr. P loves a good roller coaster because you're strapped in. Structures like this, I don't know. But for my viewers, for my students, for my followers on Facebook and on YouTube, we will do this. So follow along, we will ascend the tower. You know, you'd think I would have read that. All right, here we go. 224 stairs to the top of this bad boy. There you have it, folks. Top of the world, Ma. The things I do for my viewers. All right, that's just about gonna do it for Mr. P here at Ariel Foundation Park in Mount Vernon, Ohio. Hope you enjoyed the trip. Hope you enjoyed the trek around the park. It's a really cool place to check out if you're ever down here. If you liked the video, by all means, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Help us out a little bit. Spread the word, share the link. This is Mr. P, as always, telling you to keep on exploring wherever you go. Make sure you document everything and collect it all for posterity, collect it for history.